Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I wanted to talk about the Phoenix Suns. And Jordan Ott and Brian Gregory have this team playing better than you would think. And with that being said, guys, I want to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the Phoenix Suns? And I'm not saying that they're contenders, but hey, I think they're a play-in team at the very least, maybe a playoff team. By the way, Brian Gregory is like 5'7". I walked by Brian Gregory a few times this offseason at Summer League, and I was just amazed. Nothing wrong with a man's stature, but I found it definitely interesting. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's video. What Brian Gregory and Jordan Ott have built in Phoenix is not an accident. They're setting up the blueprint. When the front office reset the roster, moving off the superstar model that was Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, the big three with Devin Booker, the outside expectation was this was a transition year, just a step back. Instead, the Phoenix Suns engineered a new identity. This isn't about one guy carrying the load. This is about having a structure. Brian Gregory, the new general manager, identified the personnel. Jordan Ott installed his system. And as a result, the Phoenix Suns are a team that plays modern, intelligent, tough basketball built entirely around their superstar, Devin Booker, as the centerpiece. Look at the turnaround. They opened 3-5 to start the season, were down 20 plus in their first 4 games, posted a net rating of -12. Then they locked in. They ripped off 5 straight wins, and over a 10-game stretch, posted a net rating of plus 10.8, 4th in the league. That's a 22.8 point swing. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens when a team buys into a system, when the chemistry clicks, and when the coaching is clear and organized, and the players are relentless, just like the coaching staff. And I have to admit, this starts with Brian Gregory's mandate. His background isn't a traditional front office climbing. It's 19 years as a college head coach, time under Tom Izzo, a deep history in player development. Owner Matt Ishbia said no to a long rebuild. So Gregory's job was to retool around Booker with defense, youth, motor, and high IQ. He targeted specific specific archetypes. And if we look at just the guys that, obviously he didn't draft these guys, and Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro, but those were holdovers from last year's regime that he wasn't. I mean, obviously I feel like it would have been dumb to get rid of either, but it wasn't like he was required. And these guys aren't just talents. They're like the defensive corner pieces for them. Switchable, disruptive, high IQ players who are role guys who fit exactly with what head coach Jordan Ott wants to do. And Ott, the first-year head coach coming over from Cleveland, who had an insane season last year, and he was credited by Kenny Atkinson and a lot of people for helping Evan Mobley have the season that he did. He's making this team be competitive. The Suns don't control their picks, so every game matters. Ott organized this group fast. Steve Kerr even noted how well organized they are, how they played to their strengths. And I think that's one of the biggest things. Ott communicates, he studies, and he made the philosophy clear. They have veterans stabilize the team, which introduces how to win. And that's why rookies like Malawach and Rasheer Fleming have taken DMPs, while Jordan Goodwin, who's a dog. Jordan Goodwin's such a dog, okay? Such a dog. And Royce O'Neal. By the way, Royce O'Neal is one of the best 3-point shooters this year. And just for a while, Royce O'Neal has been such an underrated player. A guy who can play the 2, the 3, and the 4, and guard 1 through 4. Have been just soaking up minutes left open by injuries. And Jordan Ott's protecting the long-term development of their high-ceiling projects by not throwing them into the fire before they're ready, and all while keeping the win total climbing so that they're in the playoff race. And if you're wondering what is Jordan Ott's system, it's pure basketball, baby. Offensively, it's space, pace and space, 3-point volume. They spread the floor, cut from the corners, slide on the wings, and create angles to isolate Booker. The numbers show it. They're fourth in threes made per game at 15.6 on 42.5 attempts. Over that 10-game run, their offensive rating was 119.6, sixth in the league. By moving on from the rotational logjam of Durant and Beal, they built an offense entirely tailored to Devin Booker's strength as a shot creator and as someone who can go out, play off of ball screens, ball slips, pull-ups, and, drive on lanes which are widened by a bunch of shooters. But the real identity is on the defensive end, in my opinion. Jordan Ott demands toughness, on-ball pressure, point of attack defense, and just competing on that end constantly. And in response, especially Devin Booker, that's what they've done. And it shows up in the steals. They're fourth at 10 per game. Those live ball turnovers fuel the offense, creating easy transition buckets and letting both sides of the ball flow together. Over that same 10-game stretch, their defensive rating was 108.8, third in the league. This system requires smart, switchable defenders, which is exactly why Gregory has, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, Dillon Brooks. Devin Booker's even playing great defense. Jordan Goodwin, Oso Ighodaro, Ryan Dunn. And a lot of these guys are also, connectors who can switch and disrupt on defense, but also be connective pieces and like this connective tissue on offense. And I think the personnel is executing it at a textbook definition. Devin Booker's the engine, the primary initiator and the scorer. Grayson Allen's the elite 3-and-D spacer. He set a franchise record with 10 threes in a game, stretching defenses to create room. Mark Williams, when healthy, is a vertical rim protector, kind of a vertical spacer at times. And then another person who's been a huge catalyst to this is Colin Gillespie. Is it Gillespie or Gillespie? It's Gillespie, right? But Colin's coming off the bench. He's putting up historic numbers, over 150 points, 75 assists, 50 rebounds in his first 15 games, joining the company of Russell Westbrook and LaMelo Ball. Yeah, little white boy Colin doing that. And the lineups with Colin on the floor without Booker have an offensive rating of 125.3. That's in the 95th percentile. He runs the second unit with such an efficiency due to his high IQ that there's no drop off when Devin Booker sits. And then you have the stabilizers. All right. And by the way, hit that like and subscribe button if you're still in the video. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. It's 5:40 in the morning. I'm driving to the gym to go play basketball for 2 hours like I do every day. I don't know why I shared that, but that's it. So we're going to continue with this. And Dillon Brooks, I think, is the biggest thing. He is the whole mentality, culture setter, plays with a game 7 effort every night. Royce O'Neal plays major minutes, almost 30 a night, shooting 40% from 3, providing that 3-and-D veteranship that you love. And then Jalen Green, once healthy, is the X factor, a talented scorer who Jordan Ott must integrate into the flow without slowing the ball movement. I think this whole depth chart is built for flexibility, especially with Mark Williams, Jalen Green, and Ryan Dunn out with injuries. Royce O'Neal and Oso Ighodaro are starting right now, and Jordan Goodwin provides this pesky point of attack defense off the bench. But just keep your eye on that developmental pipeline. Obviously, Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro have been the stars here, but Rasheer Fleming and Kamon Malawach are two guys that I think could be defensive studs due to their instincts and length. I know Malawach, I've said Malawach, I think he's going to kind of be like a lankier DeAndre Jordan, not Aiden, DeAndre Jordan. Maybe something between DeAndre Jordan and JaVale McGee. And like good JaVale McGee, not young JaVale McGee. Now, Kamon Malawach is 7'2", a long-term project with a 7'6" wingspan, and could be an all defensive level or all defense level defender if brought on and developed correctly. But look, the outlook is clear. I think the Phoenix Suns are better than anyone projected. They have transitioned from a top-heavy isolation team that kind of like sucked to a system built that plays with space, pace, pressure, and purpose. They have a top 5 net rating over their hot stretch, and they generate steals, they space the floor, and they've done it with high IQ, cost-effective players. And I think this is sustainable basketball. Brian Gregory and Jordan Ott didn't just retool the roster. They're building an identity, and they're winning games as a result. I want to hear your thoughts, guys. Let me know. That's it. Peace.